Hey, listen, in reality, there's only one best thing you should be talking about when you're selling health insurance, and that is anything but the insurance, right? Because insurance is boring, insurance sucks. We just make it suck a little bit less, right? But if you have to talk about the health insurance, which you do, right? Because if you want to keep your license and stay compliant and all that stuff, we've got to talk about the benefits, right? And so I want to go over the only three things that you should be talking about when selling health insurance. When I say the only three things, I mean the only three things that pertain to the actual policy, right? You can talk about the weather, you can talk about the family, you can talk about, the friends and whatever else that you might have in common. And I highly recommend that, right? That's called building rapport. But I'm going to give you the three things that I give in every single presentation, right? I call it the perfect health insurance presentation. It is a universal presentation you can use with ACA, you can use with short-term medical, you can use with indemnity plans, you can use it with employer coverage, right? So I'm going to give you the three things, some of the meat of those three things, but look forward to a webinar in the future where we deep dive into this, because this is not something that I'm giving away for free. This is something that's made me hundreds of thousands of dollars, this presentation. I look forward to doing a webinar soon, but here's the skeleton, here's the outline, okay? So the three things that you're going to talk about when selling health insurance, right? So the first thing is accidents. Okay, what happens, if I can spell accident, what happens in the event of an accident, okay? Really easy. Everyone has accidents, okay? That accident's probably the most likely scenario for a claim of a healthy person. Those are some things that I would say during that, right? Accidents. The second thing is day-to-day. Okay, and these are not in really any particular order. Truthfully, I would normally do day-to-day before accident. So it would go day-to-day, accident. So I'll just number them here. So we'll go 1, 2, and again, I said they're not in really any particular order. So day-to-day, but you want to present them in order. And then the last thing is major medical catastrophic. Like what happens if really hits the fan, you know what I mean? Like what happens if your client is hospitalized for weeks and weeks and weeks? What's the worst case scenario if they have a major medical issue? That's the real reason you have health insurance. The rest of this stuff is probably what your client wants to know, right? But isn't necessarily the reason why we're paying all this money for coverage sometimes, right? Isn't so that we can go see the doctor, although that is going to be important to your client. So under accidents, right? And let's start with day-to-day. So 1, 2, and 3. I didn't write them in any particular order, but when I'm going through this as a presentation, I'm talking day-to-day, accidents, and then major medical, catastrophic, the crap stuff, right? What's the big stuff is the last thing I'll cover, and that's because it's most important, right? So day-to-day, doctor's visits, prescriptions, labs, x-rays, urgent care. You even got telemedicine sometimes, if depending on the plan, right? Telemedicine. So all of these things are things you can talk about in that day-to-day category. Like I said, we'll do a deeper dive into this down the road, but this is kind of the skeleton outline of what you would include in the day-to-day, right? The second is accidents. Okay, this is the reason for this. Okay, is one, because my market and really my ideal client is healthy, right? And so the most likely scenario is accidents. But also talking about accidents in this way gives you the ability to cross-sell or bundle sell an accidental medical expense policy as well, right? So the accident category, talking about that second, really allows you to package in that accident plan along with the health sale, right? Along with the ACA product or whatever else you're selling, right? So accidents, okay? Normally, a lot of the AME policies that I'm selling, $250 deductible, gives them up to, let's say, if on this plan, we'll just say 10,000. We'll just use a hypothetical number, right? I'll talk about the accident coverage that we have built in, right? Let's say we don't have accident coverage built in. Okay, no big deal. What happens if you have an accident? We'll explain to the client that, hey, you have a deductible of, let's say, $5,000 or whatever the case is in this in this part, right, you're able to kind of change that up as you go. Like whatever benefits you're bundling in there are going to be discussed in the accident section. And then the last thing, and the big thing, right, and I say the real reason you have coverage, the real reason you have coverage is for those major medical catastrophic scenarios, right? So on this plan, you have an $8,000 maximum out of pocket. That is the most that you're going to spend on your healthcare bills. But because I care about you, right? You too, but also the client. Because I care about you, there is a $20,000 critical illness benefit, okay? Or a $30,000 critical illness benefit. So, in the worst case of scenarios, like health-wise, you're diagnosed with, some sort of cancer, life-threatening disease. You've got a $30,000 or $20,000, plug the benefit in as you see fit. Benefit that's payable directly to you. You can go to Vegas and you can put it all on black if you want, but that money is for you. That's for the out-of-pocket expenses. That's to cover the deductible. That's to cover the max out-of-pocket. So really, the worst-case scenario, if you're diagnosed with cancer, you're going to get a $20,000 benefit. It's going to cover your deductible. You were out-of-pocket nothing, right? That's awesome. So with this presentation, okay, if you're doing it right, you're able to sell the AME policy, right? You're able to sell the critical illness policy over here. And then obviously you've got the health. So you've got three deals or three policies right here bundled into one perfect presentation. Day-to-day, accident, and critical illness. That's all you need. Hey, listen, if you've been on Clubhouse the last couple weeks, you know that this thing has extreme value. Get into Clubhouse now, and if you're wondering what it is, check out that video.